Cade's Vanna. So, just quickly before we really get rolling, we're gonna do a live kind of app demo. This is the first time we've ever tried this, so bear with us. If you're interested, it's a two-step process. The first thing we'll need to do is have you download the app itself. So it's the Skoped Micro app. Excuse me. So the logo looks like that. That's how you spell it, with a K, because K's are better than C's. No offense, Cade. But so that's our app. Go on your Apple App Store, your Google Play Store, and download that app. And everything we're doing is the free version of the app. For participating, we're going to give you a coupon code that gives you full access to the app. We're sort of beta testing it now. We're pretty confident in it, but we're still always looking for feedback. So if you're interested in that, click on when you do the scan me, there's a, are you interested in learning more? Click yes, and I'll send you all the information. So once you've got the app downloaded, if you'll scan this guy, I will gather your email addresses, and then Cade is going to send me the link that does the live broadcast. I will email that all to you. I'll BCC everyone unless we really want to party and have a good old email thread going, but I will send you just the link, the URL code, and we'll show you in the app where to copy from your email and paste it in the app. And then we'll be a classroom and you will all get to meet Dexter. So meeting Dexter he's Dave's cousin, just in case you're curious. Any questions about this really quick? Everyone feel pretty good about it? I'm going to be back here at a table. Oh, right. Yes, right here. Scan it now.
Go ahead and let's do this now.
And then it takes you to a little form where it asks for your name, your email address, and if you're interested in more information. I will not send you more information if you're not interested. I don't like when people do that. Skoped, Skoped Micro. And the logo looks like that.
It's there.
It better be. I checked it like 5 minutes ago. So yeah, Google. Yeah. This just, you don't need to scan this with the app. The scan me code, scan that with your regular camera. Sorry, two different things. So this will take you to a form. That's just with a regular QR code scanner, your camera, whatever it takes, you do that. And then the app we'll jump into a little bit later. And yes, even feedback on this portion. And if you are watching virtually, scan that app. Let us know if you have any questions. Perfect. Thank you. Yep. Once you're in the app, we'll just hang out, and then Dr. Cade's going to walk us through the specialities of Skoped Micro and the app specifically. And this will be fun. Again, this is the first time we're doing this with a large group of people. So we love the feedback. Okay, everyone good? If you have any questions, wave me down. I'm going to head over to the back now.
Okay, can everybody hear me? What's that? What are we looking for? I'm good. Outstanding. Okay. Let's see if I can run this thing. Kira? Uh-oh. Turn it on. This is why I need a Kiera in my life. I mean, really, can I just hit here?
You can. It should work.
Will the laser pointer work? Yep, I'm good. I can ride it.
You might have to click on it because it's not. Oh, there you go. It might click now.
Hey. Okay. All right, day one. So everybody's still awake, right? Okay, so you're in for a treat. So this is my first PowerPoint since I graduated about 18 years ago. So bear with me. I talked to a lot of my friends that do these all the time. They told me to start with a joke. So last night I ran all my dad jokes by my kids, and this is the one that's won. Okay. So what do you call a chicken, or what do you call when you notice a chicken looking at a bag of lettuce? So what do you call it when you see a chicken looking at a bag of lettuce? Anybody? It's a chicken sees a salad. It's what that is. A chicken sees a salad. So you can use that jokes all day with me. So good luck. So let's start with who I am. Oh goodness, this is kind of, we're just running like that. So in my normal life, this is where I work, Carter County Animal Hospital. I opened this in 2007 in my hometown. I'd worked at a couple practices in North Texas and Southern Oklahoma, got married and decided I needed a better game plan. So I told my wife, hey, we're opening a vet clinic. Yeah, congrats. And took a leap of faith. And so I've been very fortunate that leap has been rewarded. And now my little 1-doctor practice is a 3-doctor practice in my hometown of Ardmore, Oklahoma. Come on. All right. There we are. So this is the majority of my staff. You can see that I am definitely outnumbered. And even though I think I'm in charge, I know I'm not. And I keep this one in the middle happy with ice cream. So if I keep her happy, then everything runs really well. So again, we're a 3-doctor practice. And what we're going to talk about today started in this little practice in Southern Oklahoma. I just kind of tell you more about that. Let's keep on going here. So Skoped Micro. So how'd we get here? So several years ago, probably 6 now, I love wildlife and I was in the outdoors and I'd purchased a phone case. Looked just like this or very similar. It's made by a company called Microscope. They're an outdoor company and it connects phones to binoculars and spotting scopes for filming wildlife. And so I had one and me and my brothers were in Colorado and I was driving home one day, one fateful day. And I thought, how am I going to use this thing when I get back home? And so on a 17-hour drive, I thought up how I would attach my microscope to their case. So I worked my way through school as a carpenter. And so you would not be impressed with the first one I made, but it worked really well. And I did it solely for me. I was 1-doctor practice then, and I was trying to figure out, how do I speed up my day? How do I do better notes? How do I just make my day more efficient? And so I was in all my cytology, I was taking pictures and writing notes and making my day go a lot faster. But it also made it where my rechecks were way more efficient because I had a picture, not just terrible handwritten notes. And so I could follow up way more efficiently with my clients because I could show them where we were and where we had come. And so, man, that made it real. And then it started rolling down this high hill. I started noticing that I'd have a technician that might miss something on a slide. And instead of she and I looking through the eyepieces, and I would say, see the purple thing up to the right? And there was a lot of purple things. And they'd say yes. And I never really knew if that were true. Well, now I just pull my phone out, we'd put it on there. And now I had a little viewer that I knew that I was doing a better job educating my staff. That quickly turned to educating my clients, because then when you told somebody that you found Malassezia yeast or an ear mite or whatever, and you'd get those clients that were like, yeah, you didn't find that. You're just selling me drops. You walk them back there and you're like, this is what your cat has. And they get the willies, and then they want to buy it for every cat and the neighbor's cat, because they probably got it too. And so that started to become a thing too. Social media. I used to hate social media, the weird stuff people post and the things that you don't want to know about people. But I started thinking, well, how can I teach my clientele better? And people love microscopes. And so I would do these little 1 minute or less videos, drop it on my Carter County Animal Hospital site. And it just became a way for me to teach those clients. which drove business back to me because they would go, oh my God, my cat does that, or my dog does that, or I saw that. And it just became, not only was I doing a job of educating my clients, their pets were healthier. And so it was a win-win. One of my closest friends, and actually the one that gave me the joke, Ron Tyler, is a pathologist, and he does all my pathology work. And one day I had a case where we took mass off a dog, and I'm pretty good at some pathology slides. And so I called him and I said, do you have FaceTime? He said, yeah. I said, accept my call. And so he looked at a slide real time while the dog is still asleep of how good my margins were. I won't tell you how he told me my margins were bad, but he told me my margins weren't good enough, which I literally could just walk back in and do a better job on that. And so telepathology became a thing that with an Amazon microscope and my cell phone I already owned. Weird fate, the company that I started with in my pocket saw me on social media. And so that started a dialogue, and now here we are 3 years later, and you get to talk and listen to me. It's a weird course, but that trip to Colorado has kind of changed the life of many people. So that's kind of how we got to where we're at. So what are we actually going to look at? So here's kind of our hard products, okay? It starts with a phone case. We have phone cases we make for literally any phone, and it starts with a microscope adapter. Those go together to look something like that. We do make a universal adapter that works well. I like the custom cases just because ease of use. You don't have to, there's no moving parts. You just snap your phone in it, or your phone lives in it. I use a OtterBox in my phone, and we make over adapters for OtterBoxes, but we also have these that can be everyday carry cases. You just take the disc out, and this can just be on your phone all the time. And then when you need to use it, it's there. Goes on microscope, something like that. A lot of people do like it up and down. I mean, the app that we're going to talk about here in a little bit is made to be up and down like this. Mine, I use mine vertical. It just, my brain, I like it horizontal, that is. And so we'll show you how that works later, but that's it. It's a case, and it's a microscope adapter. We make 23 millimeters and 30 millimeters. That would have meant nothing to me many years ago, but there's essentially two eyepieces that every microscope uses, 30s or 23s, and we make them both. So that's no problem for us. So let's talk about our app. You guys know what those are? Anybody? Can you see them? Oh, parasites. You're right. So you're good, man. You guys are great. I don't even know why I'm here. And so this is looking at the app, and we've got a couple things up here, but the app, about 26 months ago, I was on a trip to Utah to talk with my future partners about different things we could solve, different problems we could solve. And they told me, hey, if you think you can solve problems with software, we know people. So that got me to thinking. And so I had a meeting with the parasitologist and the pathologist that taught me at OSU. And so they granted me a meeting. I think at first they were just, whatever, Cade, come up and visit with us, but quickly realized that I was actually on to something. And so in our meeting, I just had them talk about their problems, just talk about what everyday things. And so I was jotting down notes, and the two takeaways I had was a better way to teach through a microscope. It's hard to teach through a microscope. I mean, I have clients all the time I used to bring back, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's the thing on the right, or even the girls and young men that have worked for me. It's even when you're used to them, sometimes it's just hard to teach that. And then the other thing was my parasitologist's biggest problem or biggest gripe with people send pictures, but there's no scale. How big is that? And if somebody says, oh, that was 40X, was it? And so it's hard to know. And there's some things that look very similar, but are different size. And so So I started working on that. And one of the first things we actually solved was the ability to broadcast a screen through our app. And so there's one thing that the pandemic scored on was that I was in a Zoom meeting. I'm like, wait a minute, why can't we just do something like this? And so we're going to go into that later. We're actually going to do that in a little bit. We're going to broadcast my screen to everybody who wants to play and to kind of show how that's going to work. But we've got a one-to-one and a one-to-many function. So we'll get to that in a second. And then we also worked on this micrometer. And that's been the hardest thing, is how to not only do it on my phone, but me to be able to do it on your phone and your phone and your phone and everybody's microscope that you already own. And, you know, I've got to meet some interesting people. Encoders are pretty cool people. They always tell me how smart I am, but I'm like, dude, I tell you what I want and it magically appears on my phone tomorrow, you know? So it's pretty impressive how we've done this. And so in this case, you can see my micrometer here on the side. And when I have that up, you come up here, there's a little microscope icon that you click on, and that's going to bring down a screen. Let's just go to it. I think it's the next slide. So I click on this microscope icon. It lets me toggle what my ocular power is. So the lower objectives, and then what eyepiece I'm using. And so I use a 15 power eyepiece. That's what all of our microscope adapters are 15 power. The calibration factor, when you put it on your microscope, it's going to be pretty close. This is actually the number for my microscope to make it micron to micron at 1500x. And so, but if you buy one, which I hope everybody will eventually use one of these, if you want it literally micron to micron, if you have a microscope or a micrometer slide, you just toggle this, you just, increase this number to make it bigger, and you decrease this number to make it smaller. And once you figure out that's it, you just write the number down, and there we go. Forever and ever, that's your number for dead on micron to micron. And so that allows a pathologist or a parasitologist to know you're right. That allows you to know your technicians are right, or deviate in between, different parasites. Let's see here. So again, here's showing our scale again with this off. These are actually fluorescent worms. I had a meeting with the University of Alabama 6 weeks ago where we're using this app and the microscope adapter and some research for dementia research. And these fluorescent worms, the camera systems didn't like the fluorescence. And when I first got the meeting with them, they said, wow, can your system work with fluorescence? And I said, yes. And I prayed that it would. And showed up in Tuscaloosa sweating. Luckily, it was a hot day, so they thought it was because of the heat. And when we set that on there, I'm so glad that I was recording to show, because the gasp of, oh my God, that this guy's stuff actually works was amazing. And it was a little bit overwhelming. My dad's got early dementia, and maybe this will help somebody else's dad. Well, I didn't expect that. Anyway, we're going to get off this slide real quick. So the broadcast ability. So on this, we've got a couple of different things here. So you'll see that, I don't know if you can see this, but the top one says 1-to-1. And on our 1-to-1 function, you click it, it's going to give you a code that then you can email or text. And then your audience, I know it's misspelled. Sorry, my Pakistani buddies, I got to have a visit with them. You accept that little code and you put it in the audience. And then in the 1-to-1, you and I can be talking. It does not matter where you're at. You and I can be talking and you're looking through my phone. And in in a telepathology world, it's coming. You know, digital pathology is going to be the future, and the technicians that we are teaching are going to deal with it. All right. There's all kinds of stuff out there that's in the pipeline, but I'm kind of hoping that we kind of fit the middle of that can bring it to a little practice like mine. I'm not going to be able to buy a slide scanner. You know, I'm not going to be able to say, yep, we're going to do 2 every day. It's not going to happen, but I can do 2 a couple a week. And so we're probably going to be the intermediary to bring that to everybody, is my hope. The one to many is what we're here to talk about. All right. A lot of you guys are teaching technicians, probably all of you. Otherwise, why are you here? The idea on this is the ability to, whether they're in your classroom or not, to be able to share your screen, share how you would go through a slide, or show, you know, the little idiosyncrasies of parasitology or hematology or microbiology or whatever it is. It's to teach them in real time. And in the world we live in, they may be sitting there and they may be at home, or they may be on preceptor and you want to teach them, or you may be the best at whatever, and you might be able to teach a class in a different college, because that could be a thing too. That is what the broadcast ability has. On the one-to-many, right now we're talking through some different things, but on the one-to-many, you can talk if I'm broadcasting it, but they can't talk either, because I didn't want 100 kids talking in the background or hearing whatever's going on. Maybe you don't want to hear what's going on. So on the one-to-many, both only the broadcaster is going to be able to talk. Whereas the one-to-one, it's a two-way communication. Okay, real world. I'm doing pretty good. I hadn't even looked at my notes. Real world. So we acted some of these out the other day in my office, and so this is the one that won. I picked a different one, but I got outvoted. This is literally where I invented this. That is literally the microscope. That is literally the spot. And so here we are. Dr. McCullough is showing one of our other coworkers something. I can't remember what it was. It probably was nothing, but it's just that easy, because now we can walk up and go, there it is right there. It's not the back and forth on the eyepiece. It's not the I wonder, whether I'm teaching a client or a technician or anybody. That's most of my day anymore. Yes, ma'am. That's a great question. So the question was, do I leave my phone on there all the time, or do I scan it with my eyes and then pop my phone on there? I scan it with my eyes. Now there are days I generally wear glasses. I don't have a headache right now, but there are some days when I just don't want to go back and forth. And so I will scan it sometimes with the phone up there, but I can do it faster still with my eyes. And when I have something I need to either collect a picture or a video, or I need to teach, then it just pops out of my phone. That's one thing I like. And I don't think I've said this, maybe I did, but we make a universal adapter and we make the custom adapters. Okay. Universal adapters work. Hey, Kiara found it. Sweet. Toss it. I catch it. Oh, come on. So universal adapters. Now we've lost a washer in there in transit, but this can just hook on any phone and you just tighten it down on the eyepiece. And so in a classroom setting, this would work decent. It's a lot better than the old hang it over the eyepiece. In my world, where I don't want any moving parts and I've got a couple minutes, I'll come right back. When I'm like, okay, I've got 3 people waiting on me, I don't want to adjust anything. The fact that mine, I just snap it on, literally in 2 seconds, I can take my pictures. I'd be on there taking pictures. And so I like the custom cases. Costs, they're the same. Actually, these cost more to make. And so the custom, I think, is the way. And we'll get more into that in a second. Ma'am. Okay. So I've been doing this 2 months. So not yet. So we've been working on this. And I've said this so many times. I guess I didn't say it here. So I've been working on this for almost 6 years. All right. First 2.5 years, strictly for me. I actually didn't really want to give it up because it differentiated me. All right. It actually made my practice. It's one of the many things that made my practice a 1-doctor practice to a 3-doctor practice. All right. I need a 4th bad. So if you know any good ones, I'm taking. But, we started working on this about 2.5 years as what we thought might be a company, seriously for 2 years. And the pandemic, even though I thought it slowed us down, it actually helped us weirdly, because I probably wouldn't have a broadcast system because I had never done a Zoom meeting. It allowed me to make a 3rd generation of our adapter. It makes it a little bit easier. It's actually better. And so I would assume there's going to be somebody that's going to help. There's no doubt. And so eye strain, it would help with that. I believe that, but not yet. I've not had somebody say, wow, you saved my eyesight, but it probably, it helps me. There's days where I'm like, it helps me to just look through that, but that's probably 1 out of 255 days a year, but there's days that it helps. Lost my train of thought here. So social media, like I said, I hate social media, but man, has it helped? Has it helped my clients? Has it helped me? Has it helped the pets that I work on? Because, I'll have a slide like this. I'm like, okay, let's have a talk about Diploidium tapeworms. And I'll gather the picture I like. I usually do a 10-second video, and then I can come back and pick the perfect picture I like, screenshot it, do a little blip about what we're looking at, how it comes about, where they got them, and what we need to do. And then invariably, within a couple of days, 5 people come in with that. They may have eventually came in anyway, but that pet would have been sicker. And so this is definitely a thing in the real world that I do this, but I don't have to do this. This could be a technician running this. Like somebody said right over here, a technician could do it better than me. And there's probably no doubt about that. Okay. But that's something that in the real world, a technician could add that value to a practice. Same thing with taking pictures and showing the client a room or broadcasting to an iPad right in the room. We're working on that. Anybody know what that is? Oh, I heard it. Sospra. Good job. It's just being able to take a picture like that and being able to prove it, because we live in a world that I don't know if you noticed that the world's crazy, but people will say, well, are you sure? Yeah, I'll show you. We're in Missouri, right? You got to show people. All right. The show me state. And so that's why both my brothers were born in Joplin. So I got to show them stuff all the time. But, to be able to show the client right then, the fact that I can also save that picture, whether that be digitally or print it off, so that when the husband or the whoever calls, like, are you sure? I'm sure. I promise. So in a real world application, that has really, really helped me. And it's a skill that will help the technicians that you guys are teaching. The thing about it is, this is a very that's terrible, inexpensive thing to have. Anybody want to guess what a phone case and an eyepiece adapter costs? And if you went by my booth, don't guess. Anybody? $25? Wow, that's a heck of a deal. So you can't work for me, by the way. So the whole setup is $199. That's what it is, less than $200. And so now if you change your phone every year, that's a bad deal, by the way. But if you're like a normal person, you're gonna save it. My dad saved his, I don't know how long, but if you're going to get 2 or 3 years out of it, your eyepiece is going to be good forever. We sell the next case for about $60. So it's not like you're breaking the bank. And if you're using one of these, this could be your phone case too. I think Kiara's pretty much bedazzled hers. She's got all kinds of crazy stuff on hers, but it's an inefficient thing. If you look at doing something similar with a microscope, we are way less costly. than getting a digital pathology set up. The app, the base app is it's free. You know, the ability to take pictures and videos. There's a couple things on here. This little thing here actually helps with your lighting. So if you're like, oh, I need a little dimmer, you can adjust your lighting on the side of the app. The ability to use our micrometer, which is the hardest thing that I've worked on for 26 months. We're doing it for free because it's going to help people. So the only thing we're going to charge for is the ability to broadcast. That's it. We're doing for a guy like me in practice, we're going to charge $99 a year. All right. If you're a teacher, and I think I've said this to many, I'm the son, the grandson, and the son-in-law of teachers. All right. And I get corrected on all sides. All right. And you'd think my grammar and my writing would be better, but it's not. But I want to give back in many ways. And so if you can prove to me with an EDU website or an email, or I'll probably trust you no matter what, we're doing a half price. So it's going to be about less than $50 a year to be able to broadcast to your students wherever they're at. So that's one thing we're doing. We're also looking at different pilot programs. Again, we're just starting. All right. We're open to anything, to tell you the truth. But we're looking at some pilot programs where if you buy a case for you, we'll give you one for your classroom so that your students aren't breaking yours. We're looking at joining for scholarships. So I really think that if a technician's buying a stethoscope and you got to buy books, why can't you have this? Because you're going to be able to take it to practice and you're going to be able to make money for a guy like me. You're going to drive revenue. It's a skill that they could bring. We're looking at pilot programs where if we figure out how to, like, okay, your whole class is going to buy 30 of them. All right. Let's give you 10% off for all those also. And then we're going to turn around and give you back 10% for a scholarship to help those students. All right. So we're looking at all kinds of things. Time out. Yep. And we're interested in ideas. You guys have a brilliant idea, I'll listen to it. All right. We're open to any ideas, but that's one thing we're throwing around is how do we give back to those classes too? So Carrie, you ready to try this broadcast and see how good we do? All right, bear with me here. I'm going to send her something. Email it to you. All right. She's going to email that link I just sent to her. You know, in my mind, how you'd probably do this in a teaching aspect is if you had all your emails for your class and you literally just copied the link, and I'm going to show you how I do that in a minute, but you just copied the link and just emailed it, and then they could just take it. What's that mean? We'll do that. Let's do it with this right now. We'll come back. She hadn't given me the 10 minutes yet, so we still got a little time. I'm ready. Yes, ma'am. Great question. Thank you. So, no, they would not have to. So, man, that's a great question. I appreciate that so much. So, the base functions, right, are free. The ability to accept a broadcast will always be free. The student would have to pay for nothing. Case. That's it. Yeah. It's only if you want to broadcast, be the broadcaster. That's the only paid function. All day long. Yep. Yeah. And that, I mean, even in like a client situation, I had a couple clients who are like, I want to see what's in there, you know, or my husband wants to see. Download the app. They would have to pay at that point. But I mean, They pay the 50. No, 50. Any.edu, teacher or student, period. Okay. We've got a virtual question. There's one person out there. Great question. The question was, can this system be used with a compound scope and a dissecting scope? So yes, it can be used on any microscope. They all have 23 or 30 millimeter eyepieces. Matter of fact, the one with the worms was on the type of scope you're describing. So, yep. And really, we can make something for anything that has an eyepiece. So if you had the weirdest thing ever and you're like, wow, I can't fit, you send us how it works and we'll make you one. So, all right, Kira, she sent it out. Has everybody? She's got it. Ooh. All right, so everybody so far. So we're looking, like she said, this is, I think she's named him Dexter. I'm the only person here that smuggled demodectic mange from Oklahoma. And so what we've got here is him. And so we're just like, we can use this microscope just like you would any microscope. We can scan around. We're just going to come back finding. I can use my digital zoom to zoom in. I touch up here. So you're seeing that my setup here. So I'm on 10X on my lower objective. I'm on 15 on my eyepiece. There's my calibration factor for this microscope. And then I just drop on my micrometer. And then, oh, okay. So what do you have? What do you have, an iPhone or a, okay. All right. So you've had a recent update. We'll touch on that. Okay. Some of the newest updates are not, they've put in some protective things. And so we're trying to work around that. Some of you probably can have it. Some of you won't. And so anybody getting a gray screen? Is everybody seeing what I'm seeing over here? Just minus the thing. Well, I won't say the word I want to say. Just push your finger on it. It'll say copied. Oh, man. Okay. Yep. Let's back up here. Okay. Okay. So what you're going to do, for those who haven't found it, if you find the link that Kiara sent you, you copy the link and you put it right here and you just hit the button. You just paste it. And that will show you the screen that I'm looking at right now. Who's having a problem? Just one? You didn't get the link. If you'll come with me later, we'll play. How about that? Okay. Okay. I blame Kiara. Okay, we're going to keep going here. I don't want to run out of time, but so in this case, there's some people that are not able to show their screen, but they are able to see through the microscope. I wish this, some of these demodectic, this actually, I did this slide like 6 days ago, so I'm pretty impressed we're still able to see them. Back in the back, back in the back. I don't believe we can do that, but that's something we can look at to see if they're active. We've looked at a couple different ideas. We've looked at the ability to text in questions. We've looked at that. We're thinking about actually going even maybe to a little bit different platform where we can actually write on it with our finger. But right now I'm going to send you the link and you're going to accept it. That's what we're doing right now. So this is our first mass try. So you guys are guinea pigs, and so far so good. You know, I knew about some of the update things. I didn't know how many people would be involved in that, but the fact that we can broadcast our screen right now, I'm pretty happy with. I wish you could see my micrometer because it's really cool. So, but when you download the app, you can show it on your own phone. You can put it on your phone too and play with it. Again, yes, ma'am. We've got a couple of virtual questions.
So someone asked, have you ever sent a picture of a cytology to a pathologist rather than mine?
Yes, I have done that a lot. I've done that quite a bit. So the question was, have I ever just sent pictures or videos to a pathologist instead of the whole slide, and would that work? Yes, I have done that. Now, one of my closest friends is a pathologist, so we've been playing with that for quite a while, multiple years. Digital pathology is becoming a very, very, very common practice in human medicine, and it's trickling down to us. I'll come back to you in a second. And so what I'm seeing now is a lot of slide scanners coming out where they're doing the whole slide, but there's a lot of groups that are going to just individual pictures and videos. Matter of fact, I've got a meeting with one at 1 o'clock today about how we're going to do this together. But I don't know if many of you look at I don't know how many Facebookers we have here, but there's a website or a Facebook group called the it's like the Digital Pathology Schoolhouse, or it's Kate Baker's site. It's Coffee House. Who's on Coffee House? Coffee House is awesome, isn't it? So Kate Baker saw my stuff. So I've become friends with Kate. And so that's who I'm talking to at 1 o'clock. We're going to figure out how we're going to do this together. She's made a new thing called the Pocket Pathologist. And one of the platforms she's going to use to do consultations is through this. And so there's not just Kate out there doing it. She doesn't even own a microscope anymore. You can only send her pictures and videos, but that's going to become a good thing. Now that means we've got to make good slides. That means we got to be able to know what we're doing. So that's where you guys come in, helping me have good technicians. You had another question? Say that one more time. Uh-huh. Like AI, artificial intelligence, it's coming. I think that there's going to be some of that. I do. Now, do I think it's the future? It's the future eventually. I trust me more than I trust a computer right now. But about a year and a half ago, we were working with that. And so we worked with coccidia, hookworms, and roundworms to see how accurate we could do. And it got as good as me. It might have been better than me. I hate to say that, but we proved that we could do it. Now, there's smarter people that do that. And that's another company I'm working with next week. Skoped is got a gigantic portfolio. And so it could be the future. But you got to know why you're looking. You got to be able to say, yeah, that really is, because it's a machine. And yeah, you got to know that, no, there actually isn't a lake there, and so I don't think the learning's out of it. I don't want to believe that, because you got to know why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. Now, that's why I thought I wanted it as backup. And what we were looking at, it would give you a percentage of how much it believed it to, and so if you're like, is that a coccidia? And now that was before, or is that you name it. And, it would be like, I think it is. And if you don't have somebody there to ask, you could ask it. And if it says no, or 20% chance, then you probably got to keep looking. But in my mind, me personally, I would want to use it more of a backup, but as a training modality, it'd be great. It's coming. Yeah, artificial intelligence is coming. It's already out there. People are doing it already, but this could be a platform that we could use to, I mean, we've played with it. So there was another question somewhere. Yes. No. It's on right now. Has anybody seen the micrometer? What now? Any other questions while we're waiting on Kier? So, well, it will take, you can take pictures and videos with it. And so there's that. And so you could always take a picture or video and use that in a slideshow or show people or prove it, but it's not going to work. It's not working right now through our broadcast. So that's good to know. And it may be this is the first time we've done a one-to-many. And so it may be a one-to-many issue, not just a one-person problem. Do you have another question?
Yeah, someone was wondering, can you broadcast to a PC?
Right now, it's just the mobiles. Yeah, but we're looking at some other avenues. Not yet. We've talked about that. We've talked about that. Yes. I think it'd be more. Are you still looking through the app? Okay, I'm taking this off. So let's say I wanted to come in here and show there's a demodectic mic literally right in the middle. So you could line them up right in the middle and say, you know, that one right there is what we're looking at. I don't have a pointer, but that's a really good idea. But that would go back to if I could draw on there and I could draw you a circle around it. That'd be very helpful. So, Gary, you taking notes in the back by any chance? All right, good. You know, that's one of the things we're going to do, you know, with this pilot program is we're looking for other problems. I mean, the things that I sat down with those teachers and said, talk to me, and I listened. That's where the micrometer came from. That's where the ability to broadcast came from. So if you say, wow, I wish I could do a little pointer, then that's something we can start working on, because I think that actually is pretty easy, to tell you the truth. From what I've seen from coding, that's probably not going to be that hard for somebody. So what other questions? Ideas? For sure. Speed of use, cost, overhead. Yeah, there's no doubt. But save time. I mean, if I don't have to have somebody package it up 3 or 4 things to ship out, that's saving money, because we got to see something else. So the thing is, you've got to be good at making these slides, but you should be good anyway. But and that was the one concern that when I first talked with Kate 3 or 4 months ago, maybe 5 months ago, is people would send pictures and she's like, oh, I wish I had this a little bit over there. And so when we first visited and we talked about the broadcast ability, she's like, so you're telling me that Dr. Jones could send me a picture and I could email and go, hey, put that back up there. I'm going to send you a link, or you send me a link, and I want to look at a couple things. And she's like, I could do that in real time in 10 minutes. Yeah, you could do that. She's like, oh my gosh, that, because you may have taken a picture of something that you need a little bit more, or you need a little bit bigger sample, or you need to see a couple more varieties of that. And so, yeah, there's no doubt that that's going to be a thing if you can make good slides. Yes, ma'am. Both sides would talk. You could. Now, I think a lot of those people would initially, I'm off the cuff here, but they would have a system where you'd be like, I'm going to send you a couple slides, explain the case, just like you would in a normal send in a slide. Here's a little bit of history. And so they'd probably initially want to just have the pictures or video or pictures, and I know video. And then the consultation, you could just expand on that in my mind. Now, I'm not a digital pathologist. I don't play one on TV, but that's how I kind of envision it. But it's just it's an ability to do a little bit better job. Any other questions yet? I will say that Kira and I are going to be here through the whole event. So I'm open to, we can do all this in person. I'll do it every time. I don't know if passionate's quite the right word, but I'm very passionate about it. I've spent a lot of time on this. So I want to make it the best it can be for everybody. That's the veterinarian in me. So if you see an idea that you think, wow, this would help me, man, tell me, we'll work on it, because it won't just help you. So I appreciate your time. So we're going to go through some, I got a few more minutes. How many more minutes I got? So there's two ways. So two different type of eyepieces. That's what you're talking about. So there's 23s and 20s. There is on our website, scopemicro.com. There's a bunch of videos. And so you can. Yep. And then Kiara, if you want to talk to shipping, she's back there. And so we can always make sure you get back home, text us like, hey, actually I need a 30, not a 23. We'll make it right. And if you get one and you're like, oh my gosh, that's wrong, we will make it right. The one thing about this is we are 100% satisfaction. If you get your case and you don't like it, we will take it back. So there is actually no risk. Eyepiece. Yep. Yeah. And that does not have, you do not have, if you want to be a part of the pilot program, you do not, this is not a, what would be like a telemarketer. You don't have to buy now. If you go home and go, man, I want to do that, we'll do it. So don't feel pressured. Don't feel rushed. Go home, measure, let's get you what is going to help you. All right. This is not a, you've got to buy it right now or it's not a deal. No, you go home and make sure you get what you want for the phone you have. You know, let's make it work. That's the whole idea. So, okay. Couple of pictures. What is that? That's an easy one. All right. This is a lot better on video. And one thing I didn't want to do on here is put a video and it bog it down, but on our social media stuff, you'll see all kinds of stuff. So heartworm, microfilaria. And so there's a lot of those I've got pictures of. They're going to get harder. Anybody? Ooh, I heard it. Yep. Mast, like a mast on a boat. That's what I always tell people. M-A-S-T. So mast cell tumor. This one actually, it was not too long ago, and I did a little social media blip about it. And a lady saw a red bump on her dog that night and brought it in, and it was also a mast cell tumor. And we got it. It was little bitty instead of being really big. Anybody know what that is? So, yep, I heard it. Struvite crystal. So these little red blood cells, and there's a struvite crystal right there. How about that one? Another urinary crystal, more blood. Oop. Yep. So, no, I'm like, okay, you don't get to say anymore. So this one, we were looking, this dog is actually Ehrlichia positive. And so when we first took these pictures, we were trying to differentiate and see if these were morula or vacuoles. And you see these right here. I really wanted to make that a morula really bad. And I actually posted it, and my buddy Kate Baker shot me down. And so she's like, take that off. You don't know what you're talking about. Some friends are great, aren't they? So this is the ear cytology. I wish I was zoomed in a little bit more. We do these, I don't know how many times a day, but it's Malassezia yeast around the edge of that epithelial cell. And that's something I see a lot of. That's my daughter, Andy, 5-minute warning. And she's a mess. So that's pretty much her personality too. She's a tough little sucker, but hey, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your attention. I appreciate your questions. And I hope there's a way that we can help you. And anything you guys need or questions you have, we'll be at the booth. And thank you.